If I had known that Ed Markey had become such an effective advocate on his own behalf, I could have stayed home and watched the U.S. Open today. That was a great speech. You know, I love this place. And for many reasons. I love Worcester because more than a decade ago, in the midst of your greatest heartbreak after that fire, the whole world was looking, and thousands of firefighters from around the world came here, and you showed them what was best about our country. I love Worcester because it's an old-fashioned place where family and community count for a lot, and it's completely modern, embracing a whole new diversity and a commitment to shared prosperity where everybody has a chance at education, at a job, at healthcare, building a decent life. I love it because you represent our best hope to recreate middle-class dreams in America that poor people can work themselves into. And I'm glad to be here. I want to say something about this race generically. I was very glad that the President finally agreed to let Hillary come home and appointed Senator John Kerry in her place. I thought it was a great appointment. But I thought, oh my goodness, now Massachusetts one more time has got to have an election at a weird time, and we've got to explain to people why it's just as important as voting in a presidential election. Senator Warren won her job and sent an important signal to the country, but she got to run in a presidential year. And I thank you for sending her to the Senate. This is really important. And I want to just tell you what I know. Ed was saying that my job is now to explain things. I don't know about that. But here's what I know. In an interdependent world where in hardly any country in the world has enough jobs, there is a global jobs crisis. It is hitting young people more than older people. It is hitting people without an education more than others. It is hitting people who've been out of work for 6 months or more harder than others. And because there's a surplus of labor, wages are flat even when the stock market rises. One of the things I am proudest of about the time in which I had the opportunity to serve is that the bottom 20%'s income in percentage terms rose as much as the top 20%. And when you go to the polls and you talk to people ask me all the time, what are you proudest of economically? And I always give the same answer. We had about 40% more jobs, and more of them were private sector jobs than happened in the Reagan years. But we had 100 times as many people, 100 times as many people move from poverty into the middle class. That is because of decisions that were made by our political system to give every American a chance who was willing to work. And don't you think for a minute that's not what this is about. So we live in a world where there's all these great and all these terrible things going on. You just lived through it in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is stronger and better because you have all these university students, and a lot of them come from all over the world. Worcester is stronger because you have immigrants from all over the world. One of the reasons that I am grateful to you, and I promised myself I'd never come here without saying it. The last time I came to Worcester for general government, he had me go look at community projects that he got me to help him fund. To you that he had not been wasting his time down in Washington, but instead was twisting my arm. But one of my most memorable encounters was in late 2000, or church president, he came to me with a proposal that we should spend some of the agriculture department's surplus funds to give to the poorest countries in the world to feed their kids, but only if the kids would come to school. So we rustled up $300 million, and we gave it to these poor countries. For an average, listen to this, for an average of $50 a student for an entire year. We fed 6 million more kids who came to school. Jim McGovern was personally responsible for sending 6 million more children to school. In a place that believes in family and community, that appeals to us because it has great moral force. It's also very much in our interest. Those kids go to school in very poor countries. Every extra year of schooling adds 10% a year to your earning capacity for life. Then they can be part of an economy that's supporting itself. They don't need aid anymore. Then they can not only sell us something, they can buy something we'd like to sell them. Then we can have a world of shared prosperity. So I thank you for sending it to Congress and leaving him here and understanding that he can help us, all of us, not only by taking care of the district, but also seeing how the district would be helped if we took better care of the world. And here's the simple deal about what this election is about. In a world where we're interdependent, where all the walls, borders of the world look a lot more like nets than walls, everybody's job is to build up the positive forces of our interdependence and reduce the negative ones. And there's a lot of both. So, to get back to where I started, Massachusetts, Boston, Worcester, we're all strengthened by this growing diversity. But you also had those 2 terrible bombs at the Boston Marathon. Because 2 kids come here from a province that's still part of Russia, which has been abused and mistreated, which has responded by having a violent group of people who believe the only way they can counter that is through terrorist actions there. One of them gets kicked off the wrestling team for reasons which may or may not have had merit, but if you're going to live in a free society, you got to deal with the occasional bad break. Every person here of a certain age has had something happen to them that wasn't right, and you didn't go out and make a bomb. So he goes home, gets radicalized, comes back, makes a bomb, convinces his brother to help him. The elder one is dead, the younger one's life was ruined because they decided they could only find their meaning in life by killing people they'd never met, including an 8-year-old child. So that's the world we're living in. There are all these wonderful things happening. I saw you clapping when Ed was going through that National Institute of Health litany. I spent $3 billion of your money to sequence the human genome, and it was worth every penny of it. From it. And it doesn't cost $3 billion to sequence the genome anymore. It costs about $5,000. And there are children, for example, at the biggest children's cancer center in America that I saw in Memphis, at the St. Jude Hospital, I saw kids who are alive today because of that procedure and how they learned. I spent $500 million of your money on nanotechnology research. That's many technology. Pretty soon that nanotechnology will allow every one of us, and it will save the healthcare system money, to walk into a canister 4 times a year and be scanned, and that'll be our exam. And a lot of us will live longer. A lot of cancers will be totally obliterated because they'll be found in some microscopic form. It's going to be a different world. But we can't kid ourselves that we can have all the benefits of all this information technology and all this diversity and all this openness without ever having any challenges. So you got to hire somebody for this job who will make more good things happen and stop more bad things from happening. It's as simple as that. That's what this is about. That's what this election is about. That's what every public job is about.